94.3 The Game, WRHD-HD1, Farmville, Greenville. Powered by the Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers. Go to GotBryan.com. That's GotBryan.com. It's 5 o'clock in Pirate Country, and it's time to get pumped up with the P-Man. Hit the door and hit the road. 94.3 The Game is going to get you home, and the P-Man's not holding back.
Yes! Yes! Pirates win! Pirates win!
Bring on the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Holy mackerel! Oh, my goodness!
The flagship station of the ECU Pirates.
Okay, hello again, everybody, and welcome. It is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game, and 94.3thegame.com is where we're streaming live. The IBX Media app. March Madness is in full swing. Already an upset today with Duquesne knocking off BYU. We'll talk more about all of the games that have been played and are going on right now, and preview the games tonight. Brian Mull will join us. We might even work in a little golf. So Mull is in the offing. He's in the green room, if you will. We're going to pull him in here in just a minute from Wilmington to talk with us. A couple of Pirate notes before we get going today. ECU is in the process right now of practicing, maybe even wrapping up their second spring practice. They'll have their first scrimmage scheduled for Saturday morning, and that will be on the morning time at Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium, full padded scrimmage, and of course we'll have coverage for you. Joey Football is going to join us tomorrow to talk about that. Joe Sampson will be on the program. They have moved the ECU softball game up to noon tomorrow, the first game of their three-game set against Charlotte. So I'll have TV tomorrow at noon for ESPN Plus, and we'll be back here for the PJ Show later on in the afternoon, assuming that weather does not intervene in some capacity. We also will have for you baseball tomorrow, ECU taking on Texas San Antonio in Texas, first game of the three-game set. So that is coming up tomorrow. Is it Dom Kasolki, by the way, is producing the show today? Dom, is that a 7:30 game, or is that a 7 o'clock first pitch?
I think we're going to lose.
That's Dom Kasolki, ladies and gentlemen, ever the optimist. It's what he's feeling about with Illinois right now.
No, I think we're going to lose.
Yeah.
I don't feel that way anymore. They're on a 7-0 run right now.
Oh. All right, well, there you go. There you have it. What time is the game tomorrow night? I know you're producing baseball this weekend.
7 p.m.
Okay, so 6:45 airtime then,
Yes,
for
sir.
baseball tomorrow. That's Dom Kasolki.
I think we're going to lose.
Well, he's ever the optimist. Couple of Pirates into the transfer portal. Caleb LeCount, and, LeCount, big game this year was 11 against UNCW. Pirates won that game by 8 over the Seahawks, who finished their season in kind of disappointing fashion. I think with LeCount, great kid by all accounts, obviously has some ability. I just, he might be a level up as far as being a real contributor and impact player. The American's a tough wing, tough guard league, and I hate, as a guy who's vertically challenged, I hate to say a guy's too short, but I just think maybe too small to be a real impact guy, and is going to explore his options, and we wish him the very best of luck. Caleb's, like I said, a great person, a very popular individual within the team and with the fan base, and I hope Caleb lands somewhere where he'll be a contributor, because he is has the ability, I think, at a certain level to be a real contributor and possibly a scoring contributor. Ben Biala got into the portal. I think Biala's 2 years here have been largely unfulfilling. He had a really solid JUCO career, played for a really good program. Injuries kept him out a lot of games this year, and he just never has looked comfortable offensively. Certainly has the tools at 6'6", 200-plus pounds to be and great athleticism to be a defender on the wing, but just was giving nothing to the team offensively. So he's entered the portal, at least 1 year of eligibility for him remaining. And so we'll see how that goes. He was one of the people they honored before signing day. I did not look before we went on because I was so engulfed in the basketball, and I was also returning messages that people were sending me throughout the day and in real time on social media. But have we seen anybody else get in courtesy of Hoist the Colors and I Go, Dom? Have we seen that, or is it just Johnson, Biala, and LeCount at this point in the portal?
All I've seen is those three for the moment.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Dom will have an update on that. We'll check it before the bottom of the hour, and he'll have it for you as Dom is slaving away over a hot keyboard and editing bay for you today. So that is kind of the lay of the land of the Pirates at 5:05. Let's go now to the port city of Wilmington, where college basketball and golf writer Brian Mull joins us at BG Mull on X as we talk some March Madness. Brian, we welcome you in. It is upon us. What a time to be alive. How are you, my friend?
I am doing well. I've had 4 games on my screen here most of the morning, but now Dr. Phil has infiltrated one of the 4 screens. So hopefully that's temporary, and we'll be back to 4 games here pretty soon. But otherwise, yeah, it's been it's one of the greatest sporting days of the year, and we've had some good action already.
You know, these first 2 rounds, and I mean, I understand the Super Bowl's the Super Bowl. I understand national championships, particularly in college football or national championships. I do tend to think the semifinals in the national tournament for football is or in the playoffs, a little more interesting than maybe the championship game is at times. I also really, and I fully get, even though it's not my jam, the World Cup. I totally get that. But this is the best 2 days on the sporting calendar, these 2 days, I think. And I think the first 4 has been pretty entertaining outside of that hideous performance by Virginia.
Well, the Cavaliers had no business being in the field in the first place, but that's another discussion. But you're right. I thought pretty high-level basketball and competitive games in the first 4. I would be okay if they expanded that to 12 teams or 16 teams at some point down the road. I think that would be fine. But there's no better just action. You've got teams that maybe you haven't paid attention to this year from different regions of the country. You've got stylistic matchups, coaching matchups that are fascinating, and always, at least for a moment, it feels like during these 12 hours on Thursday and Friday, there is a possibility that there could be an upset brewing.
One that looked like it was brewing, Morehead State and Illinois, and in that region, Illinois is the 3 seed, and Morehead State was right there with them. We got a little more than half of the second half to go, but the Illini have opened up a 9-point lead in that one.
Yeah, I think the difficulty in that game, when you're trying to pull an upset, much like what we saw earlier from Duquesne with BYU. I mean, Duquesne's coach, Keith Dambro, was very clear afterward that we had to play this game in the 60s. BYU has a prolific offense and is more of a finesse type team, and we had to make it physical and low scoring. And I think the problem Morehead State's running into now is they've kind of been fine going up and down with Illinois. And, that's going to work for a half maybe, but it's very difficult when the other team has better players than you across the board to sustain that over a high possession 40-minute game.
Yeah, we'll see how that one plays out. Dom will have an update for you later on. Let's get to some of the finals from earlier today. You mentioned that Duquesne BYU game, and Duquesne wins that one by 4, 71-67. So our first upset of the tournament. And I do think it's not one of those kind of sneaky 11-over-6 upsets. I really do think it is an upset. I thought BYU had the offense to maybe win a game or 2 in the tournament. And Duquesne, let's face it, had kind of been okay this year, not anything great. They got hot at the right time. But when you got King James tweeting at his ex-head coach that he gets a first-round victory and they're trying to keep him out of retirement, I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah, and apparently King James came by and gifted the players of his former high school coach new shoes yesterday. And a few of the players were wearing those shoes today in the game. And certainly I'm sure that was nice. Maybe they've met him before, but to see him and to also, receive some shoes there that they could wear and spring the upset. And what a great story. Keith Dambro has been a great coach for a long time. Of course, high school coach there in Akron before coming to Duquesne. And his wife has been battling breast cancer for the last year or so. And he's been coaching the team, but also caretaking for her, and has had announced last week that he's going to retire and just hang out at the lake. It's, and what a cool way for him to go out with at least one NCAA tournament victory, and who knows what lies ahead.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Michigan State beat Mississippi State today, and they will advance on to play North Carolina. So that's an interesting matchup from the standpoint that Michigan State looked really good. I know in the first half they made a lot of threes. I don't know if it's so surprising Michigan State won or the fact that they won by 18 today. That's a little bit of a shocker to me because I thought this Mississippi State team had some talent.
They controlled the game, and I agree. I thought it was going to be a one or two possession game all the way through, but Michigan State punched them in the mouth in the first half and created some separation, and Mississippi State just couldn't make any shots to answer. I thought that Michigan State's experience, and particularly in the backcourt with Tyson Walker and then with Atkins, who has been one of their better players, but inconsistent. Really having a nice game, knocking down some threes and getting in double figures as well. I mean, this is a Michigan State team that was generally regarded as a top 10 team coming, into the season. Of course, they lost early to James Madison. The metrics liked Michigan State, despite the fact that there wasn't a lot of meat on their resume, and that kind of justifies their seeding. They did not win really any significant games away from home, and the committee chairman made it that clear that that was something they weighed heavily this year in not only selecting but seeding the teams. So Michigan State's a stronger, talent-wise and coaching-wise, they're a stronger than average seed to be on that bracket, and that they should be able to give Carolina a heck of a game on Saturday.
How did the Tar Heels look? I'll admit I actually, for some reason, couldn't watch that game, and I thought North Carolina, coming into this was going to respond after the loss in the ACC tournament, and at least in the final score they did. But what did the Tar Heels do particularly well today?
I mean, show up. They handled their business. They came out and did what they were supposed to. I mean, this is a Wagner team that was playing with 7 healthy players. 4 of them had 3 fouls in the first half, I think. They didn't really have any interior size over 6'6" or 6'7", so Carolina was able to get whatever it wanted, either in transition or feeding Baycott, and dominated the glass. So really not a fair fight. I mean, Wagner, pretty spirited, 5th seed to win their conference tournament and to win a first 4 game and get a little more coin for the conference with tournament shares. So successful run for them. But this was a total mismatch. I mean, Carolina played solid. They're going to have to play as well, or if not better, to advance on Saturday.
And Baycott and Davis combined for 42 in that one. But I think North Carolina's got to get some other guys going with some consistency in this tournament, especially this second round, even though it's practically a home game for the Heels, is not going to be a walk in the park like today was.
No, I mean, I think talent-wise, it's a pretty even matchup. Tyson Walker and R.J. Davis, that's close to a push as far as I'm concerned. Walker's had the ball in his hands in a lot of big games. They have the size and depth to match what Carolina has, and they showed today that they can knock down some shots. They've been a little inconsistent, speaking of Michigan State. When you look at this North Carolina team compared to other North Carolina teams that have been seeded number 1, they just don't have the offensive scoring depth that these other teams have had. All of UNC's Final Four and national championship teams generally had 5 guys on the court who could go for 15 or 20 points on any night, and you had to respect them and guard them in their own way. And this team, some of the role players have been a little bit inconsistent. I know that Hubert Davis talked about wanting to get Harrison Ingram going. He didn't take a lot of shots today, didn't really need to, did knock down a 3 late. Ryan knocked down a couple of threes. So those are promising signs for the Tar Heels, but really just with the parity, the transfer portal, the way the tournament is now, and just so few dominant teams, you might get a bit of a pushover in the first round, but after that, you're going to have to earn, if you don't play well in any of the following rounds, you can get beat regardless of what the number is beside your name.
The only thing, Arizona wins today, and that's the 2 seed in the West bracket with the Tar Heels, and a lot of people are pointing to, the Caleb Love versus UNC thing is an Elite Eight matchup. We'll see. Obviously, a lot of ball to be played. The Dan Munson run comes to an end at Long Beach State, which is kind of a shame because he's been hysterical this week.
What a great story. And then his AD comes out with some garbage statement earlier today about that he thought it would motivate the team or something ridiculous along those lines. But yeah, Munson, I mean, class act by all accounts. You could just tell the sincerity after they won the conference championship. He handled this situation, very difficult situation with class, said that he was not retiring. He felt like he still had some coaching left in him and he would land somewhere. He was confident. And yeah, he had some great one-liners yesterday about, showing game film to his team and they didn't close out. And he said, those are the kind of things that get a coach fired. And I think just kept the team loose. That was like the day he'd gotten the news, in the first film session, everybody's kind of sad because I think his players really liked him and respected him. As someone mentioned earlier, like obviously they did because they played hard for him all the way to the end and, just overmatched again today against a very talented Arizona team that kind of sleptwalked through the first half, but showed who they could be coming out after halftime.
I thought it was the great line, too. He was like, referenced Seinfeld and, I don't even work here, and Costanza trying to get fired, and it was really good. All right, tell you what, Mull, can you hang? We'll take a break. I want to talk about the games tonight, particularly NC State, and just maybe take a look at tomorrow and get a primer from you. So we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Mike Mullis will be with us later on in the show. Brian Mull stays with us, and we'll talk more hoop from the NCAA first day and preview tonight and tomorrow on the other side.
It's time to get more in 24 at Greenville Toyota. More savings, more selection, more for your trade. Get new Camrys $269 a month or new RAV4s $299 a month. Save big and get more in 24 at Greenville Toyota.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you farm to fork beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grill and feast.
Farm to fork beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked to order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Carolina Digestive Diseases and Endoscopy Center wants to keep you healthy. Dr. Goldstein provides treatment and quality care for all GI needs. Just call the office at 252-758-8181. Appointments are always available within 5 business days.
Hi, this is Dr. Phil Goldstein reminding you that a colonoscopy can save your life. Visit our website, cgbcastro.com, and come see us at Carolina Digestive Diseases.
HVAC systems tend to fall into the maintenance category of out of sight, out of mind. I'm Rachel Davis with Advanced Mechanical. Keeping your air ducts and HVAC system clean ensures the air you breathe is free of dust, bacteria, and other allergens. Did you know that we now offer air duct and dryer duct cleaning? It is estimated that your home's indoor air could be up to 5 times more polluted than the air outside.
Just
with families spending up to 90% of their time inside during the cooler months, it is vital to perform routine maintenance to keep your air ducts and HVAC system clean. Let Advanced Mechanical keep your indoor air clean with our regular HVAC maintenance and duct cleaning services.
All that this coastal lifestyle has to offer. Be inspired. Go Coast West.
Or visit our website.
at Greenville Toyota. Get more savings on our huge Toyota selection. Shop new Corollas just $239 a month, or new Tundras with 3.99% financing. Get more for your trade. Save big and get more in 24 at Greenville Toyota.
Oh, I'm very ready. Okay, ready?
You ready? Streaming to the world at 943thegame.com. This is the Patrick Johnson Show. Now in all his glory, here's the P-Man.
All right, Brian Mull joining us here on the PJ Show. Let's see. It's a 21-point spread now, Illinois over Morehead State. So Dom can breathe a sigh of relief. They're at halftime, and it's Oregon over South Carolina, 34-29. Does that surprise you, Mull, in any way, or no?
No, no. Not to take anything away from the tremendous job that Lamont Paris did at South Carolina this year, and one of the best turnarounds in a power conference program anywhere in the country. But Dana Altman at Oregon in March is about as sure thing as there's been when you look at his record, both outright and against the spread. It's tremendous. He gets his teams prepared. They came on strong last week and won the Pac-12 tournament, and very, very nice mixture of talent there, some good speed, some good size. Just felt like they were a little more talented than South Carolina. I think Lamont Paris will build off this year, but I expect Oregon to close them out in the second half.
Closing in on the first half, Dayton 25-23 over Nevada. There in a 7-10 matchup. Later tonight, right before 7 actually, it'll be Colorado State and Texas. The Longhorns are the favorite in that one, but Colorado State is coming off a first 4 victory, and you kind of like the way they looked in that game and have looked late in the season.
I do, and I love their coach, Nico Medved. He's a coach who could be on a Big Ten or ACC sideline next year. He's certainly going to be in the mix. He started out at Furman, did a great job there, and has just really built that Colorado State program into a perennial NCAA tournament team. I just tend to, history tells us ever since 2011, when the first 4 began, that teams who go to Dayton that are those at-large bubble teams and win a game tend to win at least one more. I mean, I think in 75% of the years, the team's gone to at least the Sweet 16 out of the first 4, but in all years but one, I think a team's won at least one game. And this Texas team's okay. I know they had a nice run last year, but I would not be surprised whatsoever if Colorado State handles their business there, coming in with you just get those jitters out, the first 5 minutes, you've already played a game, you've got some confidence. The tournament is kind of old hat, even though it was only 48 hours ago when you started. All
right. Let's, before I ask you about a couple, 3 specific teams, let's talk really quick here. McNeese State and Gonzaga. Will Wade, a friend of yours, coaches at McNeese State and has had a sensational year at a place where they've never had any basketball success. This is not your daddy's Gonzaga team.
No, it's not. I mean, they're still very good, but they do not have the next level NBA talent like they've had the last 5 or 6 years. They're still. They couldn't quite get past St. Mary's in the West Coast Conference, which was unusual. And this McNeese plays an interesting style. They're going to, it's kind of a zone press. It's not a really aggressive press, but it does create some turnovers. They do a terrific job of keeping the ball out of the lane, and that's what they're going to have to do because Graham Ike, the center for Gonzaga, is phenomenal. Made over 60% of his twos. He's unguardable one-on-one, and McNeese isn't the tallest team. They're rugged and athletic, and they have good guard play, but they're not the tallest team in the tournament by any stretch. So they're going to have to hope he gets in foul trouble, as Will Wade said yesterday. That would be their best defense if he's on the bench, and at least contain him. But I think their guards could rattle the Gonzaga guards a little bit. That should be that should be one of the better games of the evening. It's definitely 7:25. It'd be the one I would be tuned into.
And Will Wade's a heck of a coach, too. All right, we've got Kentucky, Iowa State, and Tennessee all in action tonight. All are double-digit favorites against their respective opponents. Calipari says Kentucky's built for March. Iowa State's coming off at a very impressive championship win in the Big 12 over Houston. And Tennessee's been rock solid on defense all year. Of those three, which has the best chance, in your opinion, to maybe wind up in an Elite Eight or even the Final Four?
I have a feeling it's Tennessee. And I know that Rick Barnes' tournament record has not been great. It's been a lot of disappointments. I mean, he's won 800 games and he's been to one Final Four. He's been seeded, in the top 3 or 4 seeds in a region many, many times, and especially recently, and just had a hard time, getting beyond the Sweet 16, if even that far. But with Dalton Knecht and their defense and their experience, I just feel like this team may be built to have the scoring firepower to go a little bit farther than they have in the past. I expect them to at least make the Elite Eight, and I would not be surprised whatsoever if they emerge from that region and play in the Final Four.
Interesting stuff. Brian Mull with us here, college basketball writer. Let me ask you about the Pac's game tonight. Texas Tech is very good. Texas Tech has some perimeter scoring punch. How do you see the matchup between the Pac and the Red Raiders?
Yeah, Texas Tech, coached by Grant McCaslin, who built the program at North Texas. I mean, they're going to guard you. It's going to be physical. They're not the tallest team, so DJ Burns should have some opportunities to work around the basket. I would imagine they'll try to double team him and get the ball out of his hands as quickly as possible. So State's going to have to knock down some three-point shots. Texas Tech was a little short-handed in the Big 12 tournament. Darian Williams, a very explosive 6'6" wing, missed their semifinal loss with an ankle injury, but by all accounts, he's good to go tonight, and they'll be as full strength possibly as they've been in a couple of months. How much juice does NC State have in the tank? I mean, they rode the adrenaline. They did something that's never been done before in the ACC, but they played 5 basketball games in 5 days with a relatively short bench and battling some injuries and didn't have a lot of time to recover. I'm sure they would have loved to have been on a Friday, Sunday draw. So we'll just see. I think you'll be able to tell early with NC State's energy. Do they have that same energy that we saw last week in Washington, D.C.? And if they do, they're certainly talented enough to win this game.
Should Kansas be on upset alert tonight?
If folks can stay up, I mean, it's a late tip, but that is going to be an entertaining basketball game. If you've not watched Samford, and I don't know why you would have, they were only on television a couple of times this year, but Bucky McMillan, one of the great stories, longtime high school coach there in Birmingham at Mountain Brook, comes across town about 10 minutes to Samford. They win 6 games his first year. That was 4 years ago. He tells all the players, we're going to cut the nets down in the Southern Conference tournament before y'all leave. And they did this year. They won the regular season and the tournament in the Southern Conference, 29 games. They're deep. They press. They've got 6 or 8 guys that are high 30% three-point shooters. They have a very versatile big man that would start for half the teams in the ACC. This is a fascinating matchup against a shorthanded Kansas team that doesn't have its point guard and really hasn't proven that it can knock down outside shots consistently. And so I'm sure they'll try to go inside to Dickinson as much as they can. And obviously Kansas has better players than Samford, but this is a fascinating game to me. See who can control the pace. Kansas obviously wants to just kind of grind it out a bit in the half court, and Samford wants to make it as frenetic as possible and get out in the open floor.
All right, looking ahead to tomorrow, what do you think any of the games to keep an eye on are?
I love tomorrow's lineup better than today, honestly. It's just the kind of the way it worked out. But like the Alabama-Charleston game, Marquette, Western Kentucky, Wisconsin, James Madison, St. Mary's, Grand Canyon. I mean, those are all fascinating matchups for various reasons. And then, of course, American champion UAB playing last year's national runner-up San Diego State. Andy Kennedy's pushed the right buttons like he often does and has his team firing at the right time of the year. And the San Diego State team not quite as talented as last year. So I think tomorrow's, if you can slip out of work a little early or act like you got a cold in the morning and never make it in, you could enjoy some fine basketball all day long. That Marquette Western Kentucky game could be wild. Both teams like to play. Western Kentucky leads the nation in tempo, and Marquette's not afraid to run as either.
Yeah. Does Marquette have its point guard back?
Yeah, Kolick's back. He's been practicing all week, according to Shaka Smart. They were just, precautionary with him last week. Still made the finals of the Big East. Marquette's a team I think is dangerous. I think they've had this group together. They haven't done a lot of portaling. They basically kept the same team from last year, which is rare, and a little more seasoned. And they have a great point guard. And we all say it, Patrick. It's all about guard play in March.
Hey, great job, Mull. Thanks a lot. We'll look forward to talking to you at some point next week. Enjoy the hoop.
Okay. Same to everyone. Have a great weekend.
All right. There he goes, Brian Mull. Right now, Dom Kasulki with a sports update for 94.3 The Game and Pirate Report. And then we'll bring in Mike Mullis to preview this ECU UTSA series from San Antonio this weekend. Right now, here is Dom.
Thank you, Patrick. ECU football has resumed spring practice today. Head coach Mike Houston talked on Tuesday about the QB play after day one.
I thought both of them looked really good. Obviously there's some things that they've got to clean up, but both of them I thought displayed good control of the base offense. I thought both of them showed the arm talent that they both have.
ECU basketball players Ben Baea and Caleb LeCount are joining Brandon Johnson in the transfer portal. Big news for ECU basketball. Now on to some of the madness. Michigan State and Mississippi State started us out, and Michigan State dominated for most of the game, winning 69-51. Tyson Walker led the way with 19 points, shooting 7 for 12. Just 2 games in, and there's already an upstate. Duquesne defeated BYU 71-67 after BYU almost climbed their way back to a win. Creighton was sloppy in the first half against Akron, but took care of business in the second to win 77-60. Arizona was also sloppy to start, but ended up putting a beating on Long Beach State 85-65. Your North Carolina Tar Heels beat Wagner 90-62, and Armando Bacot took over with his size advantage, grabbing 15 boards along with 20 points. Some live games starting right now. Illinois in a big game against Morehead State. They're up 84-65 after it was just a tied game, about 8 minutes left in the game. South Carolina losing 51-37 to number 11 Oregon with 15 minutes left in that game, and Nevada up 5 30-25 with only 46 seconds in the first half. Some games going on later tonight consist of number 10 Colorado State and number 7 Texas at 6:50. Colorado State beat Virginia in a play-in match on Tuesday. Texas is favored by 3.5 points. 14-seeded Oakland and 3-seeded Kentucky match up at 7:10. Kentucky are huge favorites at 12.5 points. Number 12 McNeese and number 5 Gonzaga tip off at 7:25. This is one of the least dominant Bulldog teams in a while, and they're only favored by 6.5 points, so you never know what could happen. Number 2 Iowa State is coming off a Big 12 tournament win against Houston. They look to stay hot, facing off against 15-seeded South Dakota State. Iowa State are big favorites at 15.5 points. And number 2 Tennessee and number 15 St. Peter's tip off at 9:20. Tennessee are massive favorites at 22.5 points. The 11-seeded Wolfpack look to stay scorching hot against 6-seed Texas Tech. You'll have to stay up late for this one with tip-off at 9:40. State are the underdogs by 4.5 points. 13-seed Samford have been picked to beat number 4 Kansas in a lot of brackets after the news of Kevin McCullough Jr. being ruled out with a bone bruise. Kansas is still favored by 7.5 points in that tip-off at 9:55. The last game of the night comes down to 10-seed Drake and number 7-seed Washington State. Drake is favored by 1.5 points, even as the lower seed. And that'll do it for your sports update. Let's take a quick break, and Patrick Johnson will be back with Mike Mullis right after this timeout on 94.3 The Game.
Need to insure a boat in
Hi, I'm
Edenton,
DR
a business in
Elliott.
Elizabeth City, a car in Greenville,
For 11 years,
how about
we'll
a
be a
farm
quality
truck in Mount
driveway,
Olive, or a
parking
home
lot
on the
for
Outer
both
Banks.
residential and
Weatherly
commercial
Insurance
needs.
Agency,
We
an
also offer
independent
free
insurance
on-site
agency
quotes
with
to
6
have your
locations in
custom
Eastern
driveway
North
built the way you
Carolina,
want.
is here to help.
252-946-1227.
Weatherly Insurance Agency has agents you can get to know because they're your neighbors and live in your town. Call today, 888-OBX-2-IBX, or on the web at weatherlyinsurance.com. From the Outer Banks to the Inner Banks, Weatherly Insurance has you covered.
Are you ready to tackle those yard and garden projects? Come by East Carolina Tractor and Fleet, your local Coyote dealer, to check out their great selection of residential and commercial Coyote tractors. From zero-turn mowers to compact tractors, they've got you covered. Some with 0% financing.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
Fifth Street Hardware is the home of the $9 lunch special Tuesday through Fridays. $9 specials every day, including the famous Burger Day on Tuesdays, Flatbread Pizza Wednesday, the famous Fifth Street Hardware Reuben on Thursday, and fried fish or shrimp on Friday. Plus trivia on Wednesday nights and live music every Thursday nights. And the Prime Rib Brunch Buffet has returned on Sundays. You heard that right. The Brunch Buffet with all the great items, including prime rib. Fifth Street Hardware in downtown Greenville.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color, and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Taking the rage out of your drive home. You just cut me off, but it's no big deal.
Patrick Johnson on 94.3 The Game and the new IBX Media app.
Back in on the Patrick Johnson Show, and it is a Mully Thursday. Mike Mullis joins us here on the PJ Show as we talk Pirate baseball. Mike Mullis, the coach. How are you, my friend?
Good, buddy. How are you?
I'm well. March Madness and the crossover season with baseball and softball, so a lot of fun this time of year, as you know, as well as anybody. Hey, Mully, let's talk about the Pirates coming off a win against Elon. Perhaps the most complete game, according to Coach Godwin, that ECU has played. Got a great start from Kaler. The bullpen came through, hitting up and down the lineup. So you would like to bottle that if you're East Carolina and carry that on the road with you beginning tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is the right word for it, complete. Again, Kaler, great outing, just a handful of hits given up, a lot of strikes thrown, which, just proof in the concept that if we throw strikes and play defense, games move along and they're clean. And, it gives you a chance to play offense on defense, get you back in the dugout and, you swing the bat. So the quicker you can get out of the defensive phase of the game and back into the dugout, number one, they can't score against you, and number two, you can score against them. So that's always a nice place to be, a nice position to be in. But bats keep rolling. I mean, Cunningham and kind of up and down the lineup, like you said. So yeah, and you know what? It was nice to see coming off of a little bit of a win that maybe felt a little bit like a loss on Sunday with Columbia. We're kind of scuffled through the back end of that series, although it's a series sweep. It didn't necessarily feel great on Sunday. So a good turnaround, bounce back performance on Tuesday, and now the travel for the first time in program history out to San Antonio to UTSA and take on the Roadrunners and make an effort to start the conference off with a opening sweep, at least a conference win or series win.
You bring up Columbia. What about that series? As you said, a sweep Sunday, maybe not the greatest finish to a game, but a win is a win. I think maybe a little bit of an illustration. ECU is finding ways to win games right now in a variety of ways. They really have during this 8-game win streak.
Yeah, the game one against Columbia is kind of what you expected. Game two was a little more back to the middle, and then like you said, game three, it kind of started. We didn't get a great outing from Jake again, and I know he's probably frustrated with that, and looking to turn that around this weekend. But yeah, just to back into that game Sunday, the bullpen questions still seem to be there, and I think that's going to be the hold your breath moment every time the the Pirates have to go to the pen other than, a handful of guys, it's going to be concerning until they get it figured out, PJ. And I think what you're seeing by the staff going to Eric Ritchie more and more, look, he's got as good a stuff as anybody they've got, top to bottom, in the pitching staff. It's just his ability to command it. And, man, if he can figure it out and if that switch can flip, he could be a huge piece, not only being left-handed, but just being a quality arm. And I think you're going to see Coach Godwin and Coach Knight do everything they can to put him in a position to either prove that he can or absolutely can.
We got Mike Mullis, ESPN Plus college baseball analyst for the Pirates, with us here. So Trey Savage obviously has been amazing. I don't think there's any other way to put it. Superb. I mean, all the superlatives, you can't say enough of them. Does it change getting that first Friday road start?
No, I tell you what changes to me, PJ, is he's had opportunities to go out at home, so it's pretty easy to get fired up at home. He's had opportunities to go out against really quality competition on Friday nights, and now we settle into the routine that is the conference. And look, nobody's foolish to the fact that the conference is not murderer's row. It's certainly not loaded top to bottom. So the challenge becomes for Trey is to best his best. He's got to go out and internally say, okay, how can I be better today than I was last time, regardless of who I'm facing? And so, I think that clearly he's the best pitcher in the conference and arguably one of the top 3 or 4 in the country. And the numbers say that, and then you just watch him and you go, man, that's really good. Can he continue to do that when he's got the muster, the internal motivation? Again, you go to UTSA, and I can't imagine they're going to draw anything like what you would get at Clark McClure Stadium, and it's certainly not Carolina across the field in the dugout. So those two motivating factors are gone. Now it's just internal drive to see how good he can really be. He almost has to take the mentality of a golfer, where it's him against the golf course, because if he goes out there and pitches the way he's capable, I think there's no question at the end of the year the accolades are there. He's the pitcher of the year. He's probably the biggest deal in the conference until Saturday when Zach Root takes the mound, and you may see those guys being 1 and 2 at the end of the year, collecting all the trophies and accolades.
Well, with Root, it's a little different. I mean, he did make a neutral site start, but I mean, he's got that experience of it's not the familiar home routine to start a game, and it was against a quality opponent, as we know, in UNC, and he shoved it up their nose. So, Mully, when you look at those two, I mean, I'm sure there are, and if there are, you probably will be able to at least tell us who they play for. But is there a 1-2 combination that's been as effective, if not at times dominant, as those two have?
Countrywide, I mean, obviously the front 3 at Wake Forest, the staff at Florida State has been absolutely incredible. But it's a limited number. I mean, those guys they're in elite range. And when you're talking about a combined ERA of like 1.5, I don't know what it is right this second, but last time I looked, they were both sitting around 1.5. So that number in and of itself is very impressive. More impressive to me is the number of strikeouts versus number of walks. So, yeah, in answer to your question, there are some really good tandems and even trios out there, but you Savage and Root are at the top of the heap.
Mike Mullis with us. We're talking Pirate baseball, the first game of the series tomorrow night at UTSA, which has added some chairbacks. I mean, they've tried to upgrade their field, and that's kind of what it is. It's a field, not so much a stadium. And I think there's some concerns about the playing surface, at least historically it's not been the greatest. So when you go out there and are playing in this type of venue, going to Elon, you're not going to Yankee Stadium, but comparatively to what you're going to at UTSA, it may be. But Mully, when you go out there and you're going somewhere that maybe doesn't have quite the the amenities or quite the attention to the detail on the surface. Is that concerning as a coach?
No, it's just something both teams have to play on the field. Obviously, the home team knows where if you think back to Boston Garden, there were spots in the floor that were dead spots, and the Celtics knew where all those were. So that's a little bit of home field advantage. But look, man, I mean, we preach as coaches mental toughness, and look, those are things that are non-controllables. There's absolutely nothing anybody at East Carolina can do about the condition of the playing surface. Now, Cliff can obviously voice his opinion if the mound's not good or, whatever.
Right.
Hey, can we get this
Right.
fixed? But for the most part, it's, man, you just, you lace them up and go play. And look, I'll tell you what makes the field play better is to be up about 5 runs the whole game. And if you've got them in your rearview mirror significantly, you're not much worried about the playing surface. It's a matter of executing to go out and play the game. And, again, so and that kind of goes back to what I said earlier. It's easy for these guys to get up and play at home. The crowd, the facilities, the playing surface, all those things. This is when you start to find out where your character's at, what your mental toughness is, and what your team's made of. And I think, and kind of talked about this before, I think what the staff is looking for is a team to come of age. On paper, you got a lot of older guys that are significant contributors and leaders on this team. A lot of seniors, a couple fifth-year guys. Now it's time to get off the bus and act like that and realize that we can't control the things that are out of our control. What we can control is how we go about our business.
We're talking baseball with Mike Mullis. A little bit of showers today in San Antonio, and it's going to be kind of warm tomorrow in the low to mid-80s. We'll cool off, obviously, by the time they get under the lights, and then kind of a nice weekend, middle 70s for that as far as conditions go. So not having to battle the weather, not having to battle oppressive heat. Sometimes this time of year you get caught somewhere and you'll get caught in one of those summer patterns. And that is not a good thing. Mike, this team going into conference play, what is your assessment as we begin, as you say, a period in the schedule where you're going to be on the road some. You're not going to be playing one of the top teams in the country. You're going to not even be playing one of the top teams in the conference. So, again, it's a lot of internal motor that you have to have in order to play at a high level, especially when you hit the road. I just like the idea that we're not having to play a team in 2 series like Cincinnati they've had the last forever. So that's a nice thing. But what's the assessment so far in your mind as far as what have been the positives that can be accentuated? Where are the areas that need a little more tidying up?
We've seen from the tidying up standpoint, we've seen obviously the glaring one is the bullpen, and the pen has to have clean outings. They have to give the staff the comfort of knowing that you can give the ball to us. And when I say the staff, I mean the starters. So obviously the pen is number one. We've seen some defensive lapses. They're kind of sporadic, and so I don't think it's like a concerning pattern, but that would be the second thing. And guys are getting hot offensively. Again, Jacob Starling, he tends to go with the temperature. The warmer it gets, the hotter he gets, and then those clutch moments happen. And I don't think you could ask anything else out of Carter Cunningham. And JC, he's always a little bit streaky, but luckily his down streaks don't typically last very long. It's been nice to see Will Coxon come on swinging the bat at a higher level. So, I mean, look, I think it's just a chance to, again, settle into a rhythm, knowing that, hey, if we take care of our business, the conference is not good enough to beat us. And then, so the focus becomes solely on the Pirates' effort, kind of day in, day out. What are they going to do? How are they going to go about their business? Again, a mature club that's been together and been around. So I really expect good things. And I'll tell you another huge positive, PJ, is that when you are in a conference that's maybe down a little bit, and we try to put that nicely in a conference that, quite frankly, is just not very good, at least not to this point, your weaknesses like your bullpen can have a chance to fool themselves into thinking maybe they're a little better than they are. But sometimes that false confidence can be what you need to carry you. Once you learn how to win, that becomes a habit as well. And so once you learn how to win and you progress into postseason play, that could be the biggest gain coming out of, the conference play as we kind of get towards the back end of it. Now, that's all saying that we're going into, Series 1, but that's the positive that could be gained. Go out, have success, learn what it feels like to be successful, learn that it's okay to be successful. And that sounds silly to maybe people that haven't competed, but sometimes you can have players that their success can scare them. So, so that, they go out, do what they need to do, continue to improve week in, week out. Next thing you know, it builds that confidence, and that gives you an opportunity to go into the back half of the season with some momentum.
Let me get you out of here on this. You talked about Wake. Duke's had a heck of a year in beating Wake earlier in the season. NC State has been quite offensive at times this year. We've seen North Carolina. Wilmington, we know what they're about with Randy Hood, who does a fantastic job. Campbell's in the D1 baseball, if not the top 20, the top 25 this week. I don't know. I can't remember that right off the top of my head. Point is, they're a ranked team. Pirates won't see them again till the end of the year. How good is this Campbell team?
Man, I think if we were in Bowie's Creek doing the show, we could be having the same conversation about this Pirate team. I think there's some very similar paths there where they're still really trying to figure out how good they are. And there are certainly for both clubs flashes of brilliance. They've had lapses, both clubs. So, I think the Campbell team is very talented. The catcher, he's leading the world in just about every offensive power category. I think he's got like 13 home runs at this point. It's just silly numbers. And then he could come in and give you, 98 off the mound. So they're good. They're talented. That's going to be one that's going to be fun to watch. And, that's kind of the neat part as you look at Coach Godwin balancing the RPI needs and the scheduling needs. We're going to get some incredible midweek games. And look, that's the ones you kind of circle the calendar. We'll enjoy the weekends because we love Pirate baseball, but those midweek games will be an awful lot of fun.
Hey, Mully, always great to talk to you. Thanks for the time.
Sure, buddy. Talk to you very soon.
All right, Mike Mullis does a great job as the analyst on TV for Pirate Baseball. We'll be back with more of the and we'll stay here as we round up the show today. Thanks, Mully, for being with us. Great stuff, as always. NC State will play tonight. Look forward to seeing how the Pack do after winning the ACC tournament. No, NC State fans have been very excited, so we'll see what they do. In case you missed it, North Carolina won today convincingly over Wagner, and on Saturday they will play Michigan State in Charlotte in the second round of the NCAA tournament. Duke tomorrow night. We'll be back tomorrow with a show for you, and we'll see you then. Of course, we'll have Pirate Baseball the next 3 days, so looking forward to that. You can hear all the pitches and accounts of the game from Scotty Rogers out in San Antonio. We'll catch you tomorrow on the Patrick Johnson Show, and we'll catch you coming up tomorrow at noon on ESPN Plus for Charlotte at ECU softball. Moved the game up because of the weather this weekend. Thanks to Brian Mull, and thanks to Mike Mullis. Also, thanks to Dom Kasulki. Great job today. We'll catch you next time around on the Patrick Johnson Show. See you tomorrow, everybody. Have a great evening.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport. Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellsHomeImprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
Offers the highest quality products. Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Get ready for an unforgettable experience at the first annual Mid-Atlantic Hunting and Fishing Expo, happening in Greenville, North Carolina on March 23rd and 24th. Explore a wide array of exhibits showcasing the latest gear, equipment, and accessories. Discover expert tips and techniques from seasoned professionals in captivating seminars. Connect with fellow outdoorsmen and immerse yourself in the world of outdoor adventure. Mark your calendars and be part of the Mid-Atlantic Hunting and Fishing Expo.
The strong and reliable East Coast agency supports ECU athletes, and we appreciate that support.
When a place is as special as this, you don't want to change a thing. You simply want to enjoy it, just as it is. That was our inspiration behind Bow Coast West, our newest community in Beaufort, North Carolina. Embrace all that we love about this very special place, and make it easy for families to enjoy all that this coastal lifestyle has to offer. Be inspired. Bow Coast West.
And you'll agree with what Skylar Phelps has to say.
Nobody beats Phelps from those prices. Nobody.
Texas Roadhouse in Greenville is the home of legendary food and legendary service. Start your meal off with a cactus blossom, fried pickles, or your famous rattlesnake bites. Then get ready for the main event, including legendary fall-off-the-bone ribs, country fried chicken, or one of the
Air
Texas
service is back
Roadhouse
at Pitt
hand-cut
Greenville
steaks.
Airport, offering safe,
Texas
clean
side
facilities
combos
and
include
flights
chicken
from
and ribs,
American
sirloin
Airlines.
and
That
shrimp,
means the
or
short
sirloin and
commute,
ribs.
quicker lines,
For
and better
extra
prices
juicy
that get you
flavored
where
fry
you're
with bone
going
and
fast
ribeye.
and easy.
Texas
See it for
Roadhouse,
yourself.
open
There's
every
great
night
things
for dinner and
inside
lunch
at
on
Pitt
weekends.
Greenville Airport.
Southwest Greenville Boulevard.
You have a choice when you invest